Hello, I'm Dr. George Ampat. I'm a consultant orthopedic surgeon and work in Liverpool in United Kingdom. I'm honored that I've been given an opportunity to lead the musculoskeletal special interest group of the British Society of Lifestyle Medicine. We meet monthly and those meetings are online. All health professionals involved in the care of patients with musculoskeletal problems are encouraged to join this meeting. In our January meeting, we discussed pain reprocessing therapy. The results of pain reprocessing therapy were published as a randomized controlled trial in JAMA, Journal of the American Medical Association. The leading authors were Asher, Gordon, Schubiner, and others. Pain reprocessing therapy seems to be the brainchild of Alan Gordon. He has written a very interesting book called The Way Out: Healing Chronic Pain. It is a self-help book and is available to purchase from bookshops and online. The book describes pain reprocessing therapy. This research work was carried out in Boulder, Colorado, USA. For the trial, they recruited participants aged between 21 and 70 years and who had experienced back pain for at least half of the days in the previous 6 months. The weekly pain average was at least 4/10 or higher on a scale of 0 to 10, where 0 is no pain and 10 is the most severe pain that one can imagine. The participants were recruited from the community in Boulder, Colorado. The targeted patients primarily experienced chronic low back pain. Patients who experienced more leg pain than back pain were not recruited. The recruited participants were randomized into 3 groups. The first group was the treatment group who received pain reprocessing therapy. The second group were provided with an open-label placebo, and the third group continued with their usual care. The researchers used an algorithm to avoid any imbalance between the groups. To recap, there were 3 groups. Group 1 was the treatment group and underwent pain reprocessing therapy. Group 2 had open-label placebo. Open-label placebo involves informing the patients that what they are about to receive is only a placebo. This is a valid research methodology. In this research study, the patients in the placebo group were shown 2 videos on how placebo can help, and in addition were administered an injection of saline to the painful area by a recognized health professional. The third group were just asked to continue with whatever treatment they were pursuing for the back pain and not to start any new treatments. The researchers received interest from 1,321 participants, but only 151 were finally eligible to be randomized. Out of the 151 who were finally recruited, 50 were randomized into the treatment group and received pain reprocessing therapy. 51 were randomized to receive the placebo treatment, and 50 were randomized to receive usual care. To recap, this is how the 151 participants were randomized into the 3 groups. At the end of the 12-month period, there was significant improvement in the treatment group who received pain reprocessing therapy. The pain scores at baseline for the treatment group receiving pain reprocessing therapy was 4.22, but at 12 months it had decreased to 1.51. The pain scores in the placebo group was 4.16 at baseline and at 12 months only decreased to 2.79. In the third or the usual care group, at baseline, the pain was 3.91 and it only decreased to 3 in 12 months. There was statistically significant improvement of pain in the treatment group who underwent pain reprocessing therapy as compared to the placebo and usual care. Now, looking at the improvement in disability, the measure used was Oswestry Disability Index. The Oswestry Disability Index is scored from 0 to 100. 0 indicates no disability and 100 indicates maximum disability. There was again significant improvement in the treatment group undergoing pain reprocessing therapy. At baseline, the treatment group had a disability index of 23.70 and that decreased to 11.16 in 12 months. The placebo group had a baseline disability of 23.06 which decreased to 18.52 in 12 months. The usual care group had a baseline disability of 23.26 which again only decreased to 18.78 in 12 months. This graph shows how the pain had decreased in the treatment group as compared to the placebo group and the usual care group. The blue dots with the blue shading is for the treatment group or who underwent pain reprocessing therapy. It is clearly evident that the graph that patients undergoing pain reprocessing therapy decreased their pain quite quickly and maintained the decreased pain over the 12-month period. The researchers also looked at the number of patients who had become completely pain-free or nearly pain-free. To become pain-free or nearly pain-free, patients had to score 0 out of 10 or 1 by 10. 73% of the patients who underwent pain reprocessing therapy decreased their pain to 0 out of 10 or 1 out of 10. And more than 50% of these patients maintained that pain relief for a year. 33 patients in the treatment group and undergoing pain reprocessing therapy were pain-free or nearly pain-free following the treatment, whilst only 10 of the 51 patients in the placebo group and 5 of the patients in the usual care group became pain-free or nearly pain-free. So, what is involved in pain reprocessing therapy? There are 5 parts to it. The first is education and learning how pain can be experienced by the brain even when there is no injury. The second is to gather and reinforce evidence that there is nothing seriously wrong with one's health. This may require the help of qualified health professionals. The third part is somatic tracking. Somatic tracking involves 3 stages, which includes mindful exploration of the pain, safety reappraisal, and positive affect induction. I will explain these 3 stages in the subsequent slides. The fourth part is to address other emotional threats, and finally, the fifth part is to gravitate to a more generally positive feeling and sensitization and sensation. The core process in pain reprocessing therapy involves somatic tracking. Somatic tracking itself has 3 stages. The first stage is mindful exploration of the pain. The second stage is safety reappraisal. And the third stage is positive affect induction, i.e., humor or positive thoughts. Let us now look at mindful exploration of the pain. This involves objectively assessing the pain without any anticipation or expectation. One has to only explore the pain without expecting the pain to decrease or go away. This may involve answering 3 questions. Where is the pain? How widespread is the area of pain? And thirdly, what is the character of the pain? Is it an aching or a burning sensation, or is it sharp or stinging? Let us assume the patient has chronic low back pain. So the first step is to mindfully observe what is happening in the lower back. The second step is to determine how widespread the pain is. Is it a small area or is it a large area? The third step is to recognize the character of the pain. Is it a dull ache? Is it a burning sensation? Is it sharp? Is it stinging? Let me give you a metaphor to understand the concept of observing mindfully without anticipation or expectation. Let us assume two young men are independently visiting London for a weekend. Let them be Mr. A and Mr. B. They are not friends, they don't know each other, and they are independently flying from Barcelona to London on a Saturday morning and flying back on Sunday evening. This is their first visit to London. They are on the same flight but don't know each other and do not interact with each other during the entire 2-day period. They land in London Gatwick on a Saturday morning, and on Sunday evening at 7:10 p.m. they take the return flight back to Barcelona from London Heathrow. Both Mr. A and Mr. B are totally different in their attitudes. Mr. A is very methodical. Even before boarding the flight, he researched on TripAdvisor and identified the 10 sites that he needed to visit over the 2-day period. He wanted to visit the Tower of London, the British Museum, the London Eye, Tower Bridge, National Gallery, Victoria and Albert Museum, Natural History Museum, Churchill War Rooms, Westminster Abbey, and the Borough Market. His plan was to visit 5 of these locations on Saturday and the remaining 5 on Sunday, and then take a flight back to Barcelona. Unlike Mr. A, Mr. B was very casual about this visit. He did not have any particular plan to visit any tourist spots. He loitered around London, taking in the sights and enjoying the culture and life of London. He did see a few sights, but there was no expectation of seeing any particular sight or witnessing any particular event. He just watched as London passed by. Again on Sunday evening, he flew back to Barcelona. Now let us analyze the visits by Mr. A and Mr. B. Mr. A arrives with a lot of anticipation and expectation. He wants to see 10 sites, and unfortunately, even if he misses a single site, then as far as Mr. A is concerned, the whole trip was a failure. On this occasion, he could not go to the Natural History Museum, and he felt that he had missed a lot and the trip was not fruitful. Mr. B, on the other hand, did not have any expectation and just roamed around London, leisurely taking in the sights. He even managed to make a few friends, and a lady who lives in Paris has taken down his contact details and they are going to keep in touch. Mr. B came with no expectation and did not see the multiple sights that Mr. A managed to see. However, Mr. B was very happy, and as far as he was concerned, he had an amazing weekend in London. It is important that when we are observing one's pain, one needs to be like Mr. B. There should not be any anticipation or expectation. You are just casually observing your pain with no demands for the pain to decrease or go away. Unfortunately, patients who experience chronic pain are on the edge. They are so stressed and are looking for different methods to solve their pain. This is understandable. However, if this attitude is maintained, then there may not be relief from pain. It is important to be calm and composed like Traveler B. The second important part of somatic tracking is safety reappraisal. It is important that before commencing pain reprocessing therapy, a qualified health professional is consulted and he or she has ruled out any dangerous condition as a cause of pain. In lower back pain, a thorough examination by a qualified health professional or an MRI scan may be required to rule out any significant abnormality that may be the cause of the pain. An MRI scan may show normal wear and tear. Normal wear and tear is natural. Just as our skin shows our age, our spines will also show our age. It is impossible to have a baby spine just like it is impossible to have baby skin as an adult. Hence, in the second part of the somatic tracking, it is important to reinforce in our mind this safety appraisal. The safety appraisal involves repeatedly reassuring oneself that the pain is safe and not dangerous. This safety reappraisal has to follow the mindful observation of the pain. Let me give you a metaphor to understand safety reappraisal. When I was young, we lived in a modest house with only 2 rooms. One served as a living room, dining, and kitchen. The other was a bedroom. Because of the arrangement of the rooms, the lack of windows, and the connecting corridor, the bedroom was usually dark. When I was young, I was really scared to go into the bedroom alone if it was dark. I had no difficulties when the bedroom was lit, but could not enter the bedroom if it was dark. The switch was at a higher level and I could not reach it. I had an unreasonable fear of the dark. However, my father reassured me. He asked me why should I be scared of the dark. He told me that my mother and he himself had been in the room earlier and hence I should be reassured that entering that room would be safe. Following his reassurance, I was able to muster courage and entered the dark bedroom. Similarly, it is important that one is constantly having the safety reappraisal that the pain in the lower back is safe and does not mean danger or harm. The third part of the somatic tracking is called positive affect induction. This is possible with humor or positive thoughts. All of us have sad thoughts and happy thoughts. When we recollect an event which went bad, we feel sad. However, if we recollect something that was joyful, we feel happy. Now let us look at these 2 little boys. They both want some candy. One has run out of pocket money and is not able to get a candy. He is sad. Even later on, when he recollects this event, he will be sad. The other has pocket money and is able to purchase and eat a candy. He is happy. Even much later on, when he recollects this event, he will be happy. Remembering and recollecting happy moments from the past gives us the positive affect induction. This could be anything from remembering when you got promotion or a salary raise, or it could be when you went on a nice beach holiday with your family. Somatic tracking involves repeatedly going through these 3 stages for 5 to 10 minutes, maybe twice a day. The 3 stages are mindful observation of the pain, safety reappraisal, and thirdly, positive affect induction. If you are interested in accessing this original article directly, you can obtain it from the link provided or following the QR code. There are also a lot of videos and resources on the web regarding pain reprocessing therapy. Lin.health provides some excellent videos for patients to watch. If you're a health professional and want to train and become a pain reprocessing therapy practitioner, then there is an online course which takes about 21 hours to complete. This book, Healing Chronic Pain, The Way Out, is widely available. There is also a very good YouTube video where Alan Gordon takes a patient through somatic tracking. The QR code provides a link to that YouTube video. Chronic pain requires a multimodal approach. Performing therapeutic exercises is an important part of obtaining pain relief. It is important to comply and repeat the exercises. The website myselfhelp.org.uk is a valuable and free resource for patients with neck, back, hip and knee pain. Dr. Deepak Ravindran, a consultant pain specialist, and I have teamed up together and we ran a seminar cum workshop last year in Liverpool called Lifestyle Medicine for Musculoskeletal Pain. We are running the same seminar and workshop once again this year in London on 23rd November 2024. It is a Saturday. Super early bird tickets are available now. Why not take this opportunity to book a place on this course? There is limited availability of super early bird tickets. We had some excellent reviews following the course in Liverpool last year. The QR code takes you to the booking page. You may also want to consider joining the British Society of Lifestyle Medicine. As a society, we are hoping to transform healthcare and level health inequalities through lifestyle medicine. Thank you so much for listening. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel and click the like button. Thank you so much. Bye for now.